everywhere, GBS.
The following program has been rated GE by the Kenya Film Classification Board. It is therefore suitable for general family viewing.
Hello everyone, welcome to Chungu Jamii. My name is Betty Akuku. I am your host today, and I am so excited to be joined by a beautiful lady you are yet to meet. I'm going to be introducing her to you shortly, but first let's check, what are we talking about today? COVID has happened. 2020 has been such a memorable year, and other people have complaints about this. Other people are rejoicing on the other side. We want to find out what has happened in this year and how we are able to move on to the next level with COVID or without COVID. Angie is on the other side of town joining me to discuss handling failure and success. I don't know whether in your life you have failed or you have succeeded and what that meant to you. I am really excited to have Angie here together with us at GBS TV on Chungu Jamii. Angie, please introduce yourself to our viewer and let's take up the show. Hello, Angie, if you can hear me. Viewer Angie is just joining us, and we are talking about handling success and failure. Failure is such a big issue in the lives of people, and we can never know just when we are going to fail. So we are going to be looking at, who can fail, what happens in life when you fail, how to pick up your pieces and move on when you fail. Yes, Angie's here. She can introduce herself and take us through this discussion. Welcome, Angie.
Thank you so much for having me on the show, Betty. As you've heard, my name is Angie Murenga. I'm a leader. I'm a CEO of Kingdom Business Solutions. I also run a program called the Purpose and Leadership Forum. And I also run a digital platform called the Just Angie Kenya, which I film 3 videos a week. So I'm a leader. I'm a thought leader. I'm also a certified executive leadership coach. I'm a trainer. I'm a CEO. I'm an ordained minister. I'm an author. I'm a mentor to very many. I'm passionate about leadership, passionate about God, and passionate about Africa.
Wow. Excellent. Quite an elaborate and detailed introduction there from Angie. If you know Angie, you know Angie. If you don't know her, please learn and get to hear something from her today. So as I said, Angie, we're talking about handling failure and success. And I know that success is not such a big deal to people, because when people achieve success, they kind of tend to relax. So let's dwell a lot on failure, because this is what troubles a lot of people. What is failure according to you, Angie?
Well, I think it's a very open question, because failure will mean different things to different people. Mm-hmm. A lot of, just to take you back to the success story, is that a lot of people, we see the success, but we don't understand the journey that it has taken somebody to get there. So we can see the success, celebrate the end product, but we have not seen the journey to the success. Mm-hmm. So, and being now older and wiser and having lived life, I wouldn't call failure what somebody else would call failure. I find like these days, you'll find like a very young person, maybe in their early 20s, saying that they have failed. I almost want to laugh. You can't fail. You've got your whole life ahead of you, Even if we take the Bible, when it says we shall live to be 70 or 70 and 10 to be 80, you have your whole life ahead of you. So you cannot call yourself a failure now. And the most important thing, so failure is determined by you, what it is, and I think your worldview, what it is that society may be, where you have your environment, where you've grown up, where you're working. What are the factors that are causing you to say that you have failed? But I really don't believe, looking from where I'm looking now, in my mid-50s, there's no such thing as failure. Everything can be a learning point and a learning tool to lead you to success.
Wow, wow. That's really good. So failure in your definition is like a stepping stone to where you are heading, and that is success. I get it. I like what you say that you have seen life and someone saying in their 20s that they have failed. That doesn't make sense to you at all. They still have a long
And
have started businesses here and there, and shortly after their businesses have gone down, people have started schools like we saw in this time of COVID, and schools have gone down. That was their business. We have seen people who have failed in their parenting, people have failed in their marriages, so still there is what we actually term as failure. It's just the definition may be different. Is it something that is inevitable?
I think we all will fail at some point, depending again on your definition of failure. What is failure? Because you can always get up and start again, as long as everything has not been taken away from you. You can always start again. So even in this season of COVID-19 and the pandemic, we have seen many people start again. We have seen people reinvent themselves. We have seen people just get up, dust yourself, and move on. Because really, there's no room to fail. Because room to fail means what will you do? Maybe there are people who are dependent on you, You need to live, you need to survive, you need to thrive, you need to flourish. So that drives you to try what is next. So we have seen people reinvent themselves. We have seen people who through the pandemic, they have succeeded, they have found something new, or they have even taken the same product and reinvented it. So I believe that everybody will fail at some time, because maybe you'll be disappointed in yourself, you'll be disappointed in the circumstances or the outcome, or you feel like you failed and it's not really your fault. We didn't know there was going to be a pandemic. We didn't know there was going to be this virus. But people have to arise out of, almost like the ashes of life, and make something of yourself, because what's the other choice? You ask me sometimes of some personal example. I think there are times that in my life when I wanted to give up, but when I look at my daughter, I'm a mother as well, I can't fail. So you see how if I fail myself, I can't fail her. So I owe her something. So I think everybody who's a parent out there, or who has dependents, people who are depending on them, even employees in an organization, you cannot fail. You must get up and do something. So I feel like we may call it failure in our terms, but it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity.
Mm-hmm. But people view this differently. There are those who, when they're faced with such kind of circumstances, then they pull up and move to the next level. But there are those who just throw in the towel and they're like, I am done. Are those the ones you can actually say have failed?
I wouldn't call them failures, because every time we think somebody is down, they may get up again. You don't know what's coming ahead. It's like life is a cycle and a circle. You don't know. And maybe they've given up temporarily. We have people who, let's say, go through depression, maybe have suicidal thoughts, but it could be for a moment. It doesn't have to, or have mental health challenges, or this situation is too much to absorb, so maybe I take a break. But at some point, our bounceability, or our ability to bounce back, it depends. Some people will do it very quickly. They'll just be able to bounce back. Others may take a little longer, but they will bounce back. Even if this person you think is down, it could just be a season and a time, and then they'll be able to get back up again. So I don't think they would have failed completely. They would not have. We have to give people time. And I'm very careful not to just judge the situation, because we don't know the end of that situation. We have not come to the end of that situation. I don't know, I keep feeling this scripture that says that when David had done everything, he rested with his generation. I think it's in the book of Acts somewhere, I think 13:36. It says when he had done everything, then he rested, So the only way that I think we'll not be able to bounce back from failure is if we are completely removed from this world, and that's the day you rest and then you move on. Because I'm even thinking, when people go to prison, or even maybe something hard like that you think that's the final chapter or the final door. We have found people within prison who have reinvented themselves. I know people who have gone to school, gotten an education, become a better person, come out better and stronger. So what was considered a failure or a final chapter gave birth to something new.
The people who consider failure as not achieving their long-term or even short-term goals, like you wanted to be that wife who said happily ever after, and this never happened to you, and you consider that as failure. I mean, is there a way that people can avoid such kinds of things, Angie?
No, because life happens. How do you avoid life? You know, you may go in with a desire and an intention, but then life happens. Just like we're saying this year, nobody was expecting this year to be the way it was. Yeah, we started the year on a high. We were celebrating the new year. It's a new season. People wanted to say bye to 2019. Step into 2020, but look, I mean, but for me, I'm celebrating 2020. I'm not going to. There are things I don't like that have happened, but it's a time, it's a season, and we can make the best of it. So nobody gets married expecting to fail. You know, nobody wants to fail. Nobody starts a business expecting it to fail. They expect it to succeed. Nobody enters a job or gets a promotion or starts something new with an expectation of failure. But then again, life happens. Things happen to us, and they're always coming at us from different directions. And because you did not succeed, let's say even it's the first time, or you did not succeed in this, there's always a next time. So we have people who get divorced and remarried, although we don't encourage people to get divorced and remarried. We encourage people to stay married, but there are people who do that. People have to move on after grief, you know. Somebody dies and you have to move on after that, you know. You are not expecting, it was not an expectation, but this has happened. You know, your business has failed. What else can I do? What else can I try? You try a partnership, even partnerships, business partnerships, they fail. But somewhere you have to pick yourself up and say, I'm going to try again. So I think the whole idea is that when life happens at us, or when life gives us situations that are not ideal, or we did not expect it to go that way, we must try again. And we must try again. And I also believe, because we're talking to an African continent that has a lot of young people, then the older generation needs to mentor the other one. We need to mentor, we need to model. We need to say, like I always say, this has happened to me. It is not right. So how do we do it better? So I'm always finding opportunities to take my supposed failures in life and mentor others and model to others and direct others in the way that they should go, so that they take the right way and the right path.
Angie, there's people in our...
So good will come out of it, isn't it?
Yes.
So somehow, if I fail, let's say I failed at business, and then I decide I want to start helping people, and maybe even just one or two people, because sometimes when we say helping people, we think it's too much. But it could be just one or two people that you mentor in business, so that they don't make the mistakes that you made. Yeah. Then it could be marriage. Your marriage failed, but you decide there are a few people I'm just going to work with and just make sure that they don't also make the mistakes that I made. Or you could write a book, and then we can read about the book. Or you could do a blog, and we'll read the blog and we'll be like, wow, that was so amazing. You can post on Facebook, we'll see it, and we'll be like, we'll learn from it. So I think it's important that whatever we consider failures, we can empower other people to learn from them.
I would say, Angie, that in our society, you know, when people don't achieve their set goals and life happens not in the way they preempted or really wished, you know, people get so demoralized and they're really down, and they choose and opt to, you know, do what you're saying. For example, a lot of people try, since they do not want to let it out there in the society, so they resort to the textbook solutions, they get to the Google, and they never really get people to walk down with them. And another thing is, they don't see people who have actually gone through these things and overcome, because of society, we hardly talk about our difficulties and our failures. We want to vibe a lot about success. And at this point, I don't know if you're willing and ready to share, did you have any failure points in your life? Because today when we look at you, we are wondering, has Angie ever failed, you know?
Yes, but you see now I said with hindsight, it was not failure, it was a stepping stone, it was a learning point, but it was failure. I have failed, my marriage failed, I have failed in business. I've done business and failed. Yet what is also surprising is that when I encourage others and work with them, their businesses succeed, I'm still left thinking, oh my goodness, when I did my business failed. But I learned a lot from the business failure. I learned the loopholes. I learned where people were taking money from me and how I wasn't fully concentrated on the business. So I have also learned, still wondering whether I'll do it again, but I have learned from that. Definitely I failed in marriage. But now I don't look at it as a failure. 20 years on, I think it's I've been able to help very many other people, have successful marriages. I've talked about it authentically. I've shared on different platforms. I've been invited to churches and places to speak. People have come for one-on-one counseling or coaching, and I've been able to empower them and say, just because my marriage failed, yours doesn't have to, and you need to move forward with it, even in business, just encourage. And then you start, another thing is very important you brought up. What are the lessons? So even right now, if there's somebody listening to me and you consider yourself to be failing right now, you need to understand what are the lessons. You need to sit down and say, what are the good things about this initiative that I did? Whether it was a business, a relationship, what were the good things about this? An investment that you made, maybe even a partnership that you made that didn't go well. So you write what is good, what is right with this picture in terms of it looking like a failure. And then you say what is wrong and what are the lessons I have learned? Because there's no point. You need a lesson. You need your eyes to be open. You need understanding. You need to move up being stronger, so that I never go down this road again. So those are the important things. What can I learn from my failure? So for me, I've learned a lot about relationships and about the failure of my marriage. I've learned a lot about failure when my business failed. I've learned a lot with every relationship that doesn't go the way that I want it to go, even if it's a friendship or any kind of relationship that does not go the way that I want it to go. I always sit down and ask, what could I have done better? So that the next time I meet another person and we're having another friendship or we're relating as human beings, then I'll be better because I've learned from my failures. So I think that is important. It is important for you to do that. And then I think it was Albert Einstein who said insanity is doing the same thing over and over again. So at some point you have to reflect, you have to stop, you have to say, why am I failing? Is this a cycle of failing? Is this a pattern of failing? How do I correct this? What do I do? What 1 or 2 measures or steps do I need to take? Do I need to get a mentor? Do I need to get a coach? Do I need a sounding board? Do I need to sound this idea of somebody before I do it? Do I need to be there in person? Is this a business that I need to do when I'm standing there and learn what it is to do? Do I need to trust? Do I need to consult? You need to find out. Do I need to pray about it? Is this something that I'm just really trying to insist? Is this my path and purpose, or am I trying to gain other people's path and purpose? Because I find that especially in Kenya that we copy a lot, So when one thing succeeds, we have 15 of those items. That's not right, What are you called to do? What are you good at? What is your personality good at? What is your makeup good at? What experiences, exposure, networks, opportunities do you have that are unique to you and are not just about, because this one succeeded, even me, now we do this and then we succeed. We're not being unique in our own way of expressing ourselves.
You brought in the mentorship point, and that's where I was going next, because when something that you're doing does not succeed, you try another one, and like you have said, you copy that one of tried by that person succeeded, so I want to try that as well. And then it just doesn't work for you, and then you are in that cycle of always failing or not succeeding at something that you try to do. Is there a way that somebody can keep off this? Because if it is in relationships, there is that tendency that every time you will always fail, every time you try. What kind of a mindset do you need to keep you on track, such that even when there are storms and waves around you, you can still pursue and say, this time I'm going to make it to the end?
Okay. So I like people to look at patterns as well. You need to look at patterns in your life. In relationships, sometimes we always choose the same person, and it is because of you. Something is going on with you, or maybe there's an inadequacy that you feel that causes you to choose the same person. You choose the same kind of person, so you keep going around in circles. So at some point, you're the only common denominator here. So at some point, you have to work on yourself. You have to look at yourself. You have to ask yourself, why do I keep choosing this? Why am I failing? What are the choices that I'm making, that I'm consistently making, that are consistently leading me to this loss? And also, I feel like even as we talk about mentorship, you also have to work on yourself. You know, a lot of people want to be mentored and they think it's like magic. A mentor can only work with a good mentee. So you as a mentee as well have to be working on yourself. It's not that the mentor has all the solutions. You yourself need to want to change. You need to have looked at maybe the cycles and patterns of your life, this failure. And then you need to know what you want from your mentor and be able to do the work, because mentorship is work on both sides. So you really must look at your patterns and your cycles and the choices that you're making that are continuously leading you to this kind of failure, so that they can be a turning around. You need to choose something else. You need to go in a different direction. Like if you're going north, maybe you need to go east, you need to go west. And you need to define what is that. I need to take a different direction.
Okay, so you have failed. You have not succeeded. For you, whatever failure was, you mentioned that you failed in your marriage, you failed in your business. I mean, how did you come out of that? Because the idea is once you've fallen, you have lost, you are down, and you need to, I don't know what you need to get up and move to the next level. What next after you find yourself in that position?
You need something to motivate you. You need motivation. And then for me, it's amazing. I was watching a video yesterday of President-elect Joe Biden when he did, about 2 years ago, he did with Oprah. And I was amazed that, God, that's me. You know, he said that he was taught by his parents to always get up. Those are my parents. My parents, there was no choice. Whatever happened to us in life, my dad had an accident which left him paralyzed for about 40 years. But in that 40 years, he built a legacy like no other. You know, there was no excuse. You cannot be down. We were taught to get up. When life hits you, you wake up and you face it and you get up. So you can't stay down, you know. That's another thing. And you can only stay down for so long. You know, I said people have different thresholds of how long you can stay down. The faster you bounce back, the better. I also said that recently I lost my dad, and somebody gave me a book by Sheryl Sandberg, and it talks about, and her and this man called Adam Grant have written this book called Option B. And as you read through it, it talks about resilience. Resilience is the ability to bounce back. So we need to develop that bounce back ability. And then it also talks, it's because there's no option A that you're choosing option B. Option A would be the ideal, but there's no option A. So now you have to work with option B, C, D, whatever. You have to work with this other option. So that's something that we need to do, that we cannot allow life to keep us down. We must get up. And we must equip ourselves, train the next generation, train our children, train the people in our environment to get up. When something bad happens, you may experience the loss, you may grieve, you may do whatever you need to do, but then you need to stand up and move on. I think there was a Donnie McClurkin's song that says that a saint is just a sinner who got up, you know, because the enemy, I think, tries to make you stay down. Life tries to make you stay down. People try to make you stay down, but you must be a person who gets up. And if you look at the people, because you started talking about success, if you look at people who are successful, even myself, if you consider me successful, it's a story. It's a journey. There was a friend of mine who used to say, people don't understand the background. They don't understand the backstory. They just see this. But they don't understand that it's been a process, it's been a struggle. And that's why I said, like, you can't be in your 20s and say you failed. You have 50 years or 80 years of life ahead of you. Please get up, dust yourself, and move on. So it's the ability to get up, the ability to bounce back, the ability to be resilient, the ability to wash yourself and move on. Even reminds me of the prodigal son, you know. At some point to get so down, by the time he was eating with the pigs, he said, no. He came, actually the Bible says he came to his senses. So you need to come to your senses as well and say, no, I will not be defeated. I think sometimes also there's another scripture I like which talks about, remember the rock from which you are hewn. You know, we are, the people talk about Abraham. So who are we? You know, who are you to fail? Because of who you are, your lineage, your generation. Look, encourage yourself with the people who have gone ahead of you, the people who are around you, the people you went to school with, the people who are in your neighborhood. I mean, who are you? You have to ask yourself, who are you not to succeed? And maybe, I don't know whether you're going to ask, but I think also a lot of people are taking shortcuts, you know, to succeed. And I really don't like those shortcuts, you know. That's when we will steal, we'll be corrupt, we'll cause somebody else to suffer. so that we gain. And it's also wrong because we're trying to curtail the process of success. Success has a process. It's a journey. It's not a one-stop failure, you know.
True,
so I steal from somebody else, I call somebody else to suffer, I buy myself a nice house and a nice car, and I say I have succeeded. I don't know at which point also you will talk about this. I hope you do, because who said whatever we have defined success as, is that really success? Who has given us this?
As you're getting into success, Angie, that is really an important bit that you're mentioning right there. Just as we get into success, you know, there are people still on the failure, and this will be maybe the last bit of failure, who like giving excuses. And they want to give explanations to everyone. You know, I am like this. I like the way you mentioned your dad, that even in his paralysis, he still left such a legacy, you know. But there are people who would want to give explanations and excuses to everyone coming their way. This is the reason I couldn't achieve. This is the reason my children are like this. This is the reason my life is like this. What would you say to people with such kind of a mindset, even as you step into success now?
We need to stop giving excuses, because we all can. Sometimes people say, oh, Pastor, that's so mean to say, but I tell people no. We cannot use this as an excuse, because let's say I use an example like somebody like Joyce Meyer. She was abused, isn't it, by her dad? She's told everyone, but she's helped other people overcome abuse. So I always look at that and say, if this person overcame this, what excuse do I have? When I look at my dad and my late dad and the paralysis of 40 years, it's not easy to be on a wheelchair, but he achieved so much. He continued. So I don't have an excuse. So maybe what we need is role models. We need role models around us. We need to stop making excuses. We need to stop saying why we cannot do things and start saying why we can. Because if somebody there's a runner, I've just remembered, there was a blind runner who even did the Olympics, isn't it? If other people have succeeded without sight, without the ability to walk, without coming from families that are prosperous, coming from dark places and being able to make it, then who are you not to? That is the question that we need to ask ourselves. And honestly, the longer we have excuses, we'll never get it done. Everybody can have an excuse. Everyone has an excuse of why we cannot do this or why we cannot try. You know, I could have taken the excuse, me and my husband, we parted ways. But I had to keep moving, you know. I cannot give up on life. And actually, it's a very good point you brought, because as I reflect, I see so many people giving up, you know. Somebody broke up with you, you've given up. Sijui, your spouse left, you've given up. Sijui, somebody died, you've given up. No, you have life and you have to continue, and you owe it to them. And you've brought up a very good point. I see so many excuses, just excuses. But you've got to get past the excuses. You've got to understand, why are you saying this? And other people in the similar situation like you have gotten over it. People have been on drugs. They've been addicted. They've overcome addiction. You know, people have been imprisoned in bad places, dark places. They've overcome torture and torment and physical abuse and violence and even sexual abuse. People have overcome. So who are you not to overcome? Go and look for good role models. Thank God the world is good. Everybody can. You can find somebody with your excuse. I think recently I was asking somebody to go and look for people who the person has failed in business or business has not been as good. So I asked them to go and look for people over the internet who have been in that position, people who have failed at business and risen up. Go and look at those people. Go and read their stories and receive encouragement.
Angie, talk to us about success. My wild guess would be that right now you are successful. I don't know if that is your opinion as well, and whether you have attained or you are still chasing. As you talk to us about what success is, how you probably got there, how someone can be successful, because there's a tendency of hard work. And once you have attained and worked hard, and now you see and you've achieved your goals, you want to sit back and relax and enjoy. Does success wait for you there? How sustainable is it? How does that affect your relationship with people? Because if you have siblings, you probably have been accused. She's so rich, but she doesn't share. She's so this, but she's so mean. Tell us about how that has been for you.
You know, Betty, it's amazing. I don't know why we think like that. I'd like to know, why do you think I'm successful? Why am I successful? Because I look or I look the part, I guess. I don't know. Success, first of all, is we need to redefine what we call success, because success is not what the world has called success. Success, as far as I'm concerned, is what God has called you to do. What is the purpose He called you to do, and are you achieving that? You know, success also is about relationships. The older you get, the more you understand, am I having successful relationships? Am I successfully relating with others? Am I having a successful relationship with God? Am I having a successful relationship with myself? That is more important than all the things, because when we talk about success, in your version, we're talking about wealth. So if I live in a nice house, or I drive a nice car, or I have nice clothes, that is success. But really, that is not success. I think success is a place of happiness. It's a place of becoming. It's a place of being. Because I feel like also there's an emphasis on being happy with the less that we have thought. Because all this chasing after is causing pain. So we're chasing after, but causing pain to ourselves, maybe to our immediate families. We're causing pain to the environment that we are in. We're stealing from people maybe who are sick and helpless. We're being corrupt. Just to achieve this picture of success, which even if we looked at it, who defined that success? Because success is people who are happy. Probably they are happily married. They've raised amazing children. They probably live where they want to live. They are happy. They are stress free. They have enough for every day, because the last I checked, even I was told prosperity means having enough for today. So it's not that I've hoarded and I've accumulated. It's helping others as God has led you to help them. You know, we cannot help the world, but we can help some people. I recently had a young man say the other day that even if purpose is about, even if I affect only 1% of the people in my life or in my environment, that's okay, because that's the impact I was called to have. So what is success? Because if I go back and I look at my grandparents, they were happy. People were happy, and they were happy with less. You know, they were satisfied. They were accomplished. They felt good about themselves. So that's what I want success to be about. Do you feel good about yourself? Do you feel good about every day? Do you feel good about what you have achieved every day? Like today was a good day. It's getting me closer to my point. But if success is ruining other people's lives, then that's not success. So that we can see, and then when we see, what do we do? What do we do? I mean, we live in a world where we even post on Facebook. You know, you edit one picture 15 times. Then you post it to us and you tell us that is success. But maybe behind the scenes, you're depressed, you're sad, you're angry. You know, so many things are going wrong. It's just too much. And then what will you do? I'm always afraid of people who will go at any length to succeed. But I think the point today I want to bring across is we need to go and redefine what success is.
I'm amused by you saying that you don't know who defined success. When you ask young people who are schooling today, all you ask them is, when you ask them, what do you want to be? What do you want to achieve? And everybody says they want to be successful, they want to be prosperous, they want to be rich, not knowing the real and precise definition according to what is actually ideal, and not just illusions and what people have said it is. I like also that people go an extra mile, even when it means stealing and being corrupt to gain success.
And that's so crazy. And so, can you call that person successful? If I had to kill you, I had to imprison you, I had to steal from you, how is that success? That's not success. And you see, like those children, it's really sad. Now they need new role models, because the whole idea of be rich and do what? I've been known to see people in a hospital, to hear stories of people on their deathbed in a hospital asking, you mean even my money cannot save me? And it can't. At that point, your life is over and it's done, you know?
Yeah, true.
Rich to do what? Rich to do what? And you see, that's the problem. Success has become, is it to show others? Is it a show we're putting on for others?
Mm-hmm.
Or is success having peace, that I've accomplished what I was meant to do today? Does this success come with peace? Does this money come with peace?
The right success that now gives you peace and makes you're happy with yourself, with your family, and with other people. You're happy with what you have achieved legally and in the right way. Is this sustainable? People talk about hard work, hard work, hard work. Does this hard work ever cease to be part of your life? Or once you have worked hard and attained success, then it becomes part of your life?
But I think there are seasons. You see, like now I said, I'm in my mid-50s. Somebody who is 20 should be working very hard because they have strength. Yeah, I still have an element of stress, but people who are 80, 85, they don't have to work hard. They shouldn't have. They should have worked hard for everything. And look at working hard, like when you're 80, 85. It's even the way that you treated people around you that you'll have people who will be able to take care of you. Because at 80, 85, you probably cannot work that hard, yeah? But you've worked hard, probably you've made the right investments, you have not tortured people or killed people or denied people or taken away from others, so you have peace, and then maybe you've made the right investments, and then you're able to live off those investments. So hard work is also in seasons, At a younger age, I need to work harder, yeah? I need to work harder because I also have strength. I have energy, I have time. So all those things are important. As they go up, they say that those the time, energy, and maybe finances or wealth keep changing as you grow older. So you need to invest now. You need to work hard now. You need to save up now. You need to invest now because you could also be working hard. Maybe you're young, but you're spending all your money. You're not thinking about the future. You're not saving up for the future. You're not trying to invest with the future in mind. It's just about now. So you could be successful, it's just about now. And then maybe if something happens, that's it, then the success ends. But I think this success, first you need to define for yourself what is success.
Yes.
You probably need a peer group around you to define what is success. You need accountability so you don't start going crazy here and overachieve, becoming too much. And then what does success look like in the future? If I'm 20 now, what does success look like when I'm 30, when I'm 40, when I'm in my 50s, when I'm in my 60s? And we start thinking about that now.
And you talk to us about socio-economic relations, So now you have people judge you as successful by virtue of the 1, 2, 3 things that you own. And they are not at that level, and you have to continue relating with them. Has that been ever difficult for you when people have to judge you with things that you have?
No, it wouldn't. Why would it be? I mean, I'm who I am, and thank God for me, at least I know my purpose, I know my calling, I know what I'm doing. I may not succeed every day, but I keep moving, and I like to tell myself something that I learned, that I may not be where I am, but I'm not where I was. And I'm on a journey to get there. And you don't treat people differently because of what they have. You love everyone and treat everyone and see. For me, my vision is always to see where I can lend a helping hand to make you better, to give you a hand up, to lift you up as you climb, and to relate. And I relate with all people of all socioeconomic statuses. And I have fun doing it. And I learn from everybody as well. Young, old, middle-aged. Yeah, I like to be an open book. So we don't treat people better because they have something, we treat everyone because they're human. We treat them well because they're human.
Those who have achieved
what they have, yes.
Those who have achieved and now they have it all, what they have been chasing for in this life, what is your advice to them? How should they now live life other than just loving everyone and appreciating everyone? Sometimes it's not easy because those who are really down are not in your circle. You have moved. If you were living in a certain estate, now you have moved to the other side. But remember, you are with these people, and maybe somehow life has to continue. And even if not with them, in your village, in your family, not everybody could be at your level. How do you continue relating? What is your word of advice to such people who have achieved and they don't actually feel like they need everyone around them?
I think the whole idea is to be a statesperson, sort of to lend your how did you do it to others. I know it's difficult. Sometimes you can't teach everyone, but you could probably, depending on your purpose and your calling, identify 2 or 3 people that you want to engage in, that you want to mentor. I remember one gentleman, I heard him say that he was in a school that was not a very prestigious school, but because there were these men who kept coming to their school, every quarter they'd come or every term they'd come and encourage them, it encouraged him. And I was very amazed to see, something small can just encourage people. He just said, just because these men came and spoke to us every term, I had a goal, I had a vision, I wanted to get to where they were, so that kept me going, and I did well in school, and even at that time he was doing well. So I think when we have a culture sometimes of not telling people how did we do it, how did we get to this success, share authentically our failures as well. What's the backstory? What are the failure process and steps that have taken place? But then I got here. I didn't just get here. I tried this and it didn't work. So sharing authentic story, probably in a safe space, whatever that safe space means to you. You can do a blog. You can write a book. You can do a show. You can find ways and opportunities to encourage others, depending on your scope of influence. Some of us have a smaller scope of influence, others have a larger scope of influence, but sharing your story, remaining humble, modeling life to people, being humble even in that status, and just sharing your how did you do it story with the authentic parts, the parts that are not so great and the parts that are great, sharing all of them to show this is the way to go.
Wow. That's really, really great. We have less than 10 minutes to wrap up our show today. And in these 10 minutes, I would like you to talk to those who are getting out of their failures and stepping into success. And now they have a shift that is, so parallel, And once they move into this, what exactly do they need? You have talked about a mentor, and sometimes just to make them not to bounce back, because it's really easy once I look at people who trade, for example. Today they have 1,000 shillings and tomorrow they have 10,000, and before they know it, they're back to less than 1,000. What kind of caution would you give to such kind of people?
I think, first of all, always remember the lessons, Remember maybe from how far God has brought you, or whatever you think has brought you up to that point. Remember the lessons, they're important. Remember what will keep you humble. Remember what it was like to be in this other level. Remember what it was like and be real about it. And then don't forget the lessons, because the lessons learned in that what you're deeming failure, which I'm not deeming failure, but in that place, there are a lot of lessons that will help you as you move forward. There are a lot of lessons that will keep you grounded. So you can't forget those lessons. And then also, because of you use this person of trading, today you have 1,000, tomorrow you have 10,000. Then what are you going to do with this 10,000 is very important. What do I live off? What do I save for investments? What do I give away? How do I use this 10,000 shillings, so that I have more for tomorrow? It reminds me of an analogy I was given of a farmer who, when the farmer harvests his crop, his bumper crop, he has a good harvest. The first thing he does is remove the seed, the best seed for the next harvest, because he won't have another harvest. So this is a great harvest. We're celebrating. We made it. But the first thing a farmer does is first take away from that harvest what is the best seed that was produced from this harvest, so that I can plant it and have another harvest. So I think a lot of us, we eat the seed as well. So this whole 10,000, we are taking all of it. I was taught, let me just share what I was taught. I was taught that you live on 60% of your income. So let's say that 10,000, I live on 6,000 shillings. I tithe 1,000. I save 3,000 in two different investments. 1,000 or 10% I save in investments that I want to make for maybe immediate purchases. And then another 10% I save for future investment, or 20, something like that. But 60 is only what you should be living off. You only live off 60, you immediately separate 40%. If you're a person who tithe it. And then the rest you save, but you save it different. 10% for something I want immediately. Maybe I want to buy a TV or I want to buy a phone. So I put it in an account and I start saving that 10,000, that 10%. 20% I save for Future investments, you must keep thinking about the investment. So whenever something comes to you, separate it into what I want to save, what I want to give, and what I'm going to live off. And even these savings, they're different savings. They're savings for immediate needs. They're savings for a rainy day. They're savings for the future. They're saving to invest in something else. So have a plan. So I think the best thing is the farmer analogy. And always remember where you have come from. I think the people who really remember their roots and don't forget their roots are the people who continue with that success and who do well, because they remember where they came from. And they remember that everybody is trying, and you can also give them a hand up or a leg up to be able to do more and to see more and to move forward. You know, I don't know why somebody like Giuliani has come to mind, you know. When he succeeded, he went back to his community in Dandora, you know. And even when you watch people from all over the world who come from communities that are not so great, even overseas, they go back. Some go back and try to empower those communities because they understand. They understand the real facts. There's a picture that we can have outside here, but they understand the real facts about the community. So it's important, whether you go back to your village, whether you go back to your neighbors, you know, you identify with somebody who's hungry to learn.
Wow, that's really good. That's really, really good. Let's talk about sustainability of success. You are up there where you have wanted to be, or that middle place you have wanted to be, and in your version you have succeeded. So how do you sustain? There is the tendency that some successful people tend to have, and that is allows a riotous kind of lifestyle, you know. So they get lost and mixed up in a kind of lifestyle because they think now they have achieved. They're no longer struggling with basics. And when you talk about if their vision and plan was to get cars, they don't talk about Toyota, and if they do, it is the high end. If it was having real estate, they have achieved it. They have all the wanted, and the definition of success is well set. Lifestyle for them. What is your advice?
My advice would be very contrary to what they are doing. I think you should enjoy your life, but remember, like I said, remember from where you have come. Remember that, you know, this has been a journey, you know. Sometimes I say, don't even celebrate your successes too early, you know. Or there's a humility that you also have to have, you know. There's a humility that you have to have. I think you can enjoy your life and enjoy where you have reached, but how do you get other people up there? How do you get as many people to that place? And then when you get there, I find there's a humility that is needed. There's a wisdom that is needed, because many people are watching you as well, you know. So you have a responsibility to model life and to model success then, you know, to model success to others and to do it with responsibility. I'm a great believer in no extremes, and I'm a great believer in balance, that everything must have a balance, you know, that we eat and celebrate today, maybe tomorrow we go and work hard, we go and demonstrate something else, and then help others, you know, lift as you climb up this success ladder, help as many people as you can. They might not all help you back, and that's good. But I find that God, in his own wisdom, will find a way to bless you. Those same people may not be used to do that, but God will find a way to bless you. Or like they say, the universe will find a way to give back to you. But you must be humble. I think humility is very important, because I think the English said pride comes before a fall. So it depends on your posture, your attitude. Are you grateful? Are you thankful? Are you seeing opportunities? Are you helping others? Are you encouraging others? You know, what are you doing? And are you building a legacy that is a great legacy? I think this morning I kept hearing the scripture. There's a scripture that says that a good father leaves an inheritance for his children's children. So are you eating away your inheritance as well? Is that what you're doing? Are you taking away inheritance from people who are supposed to? Sometimes I think like that. I say, I better not spend too much, because I might taking up somebody's inheritance. So it's important to leave an inheritance for your children's children. So think about that. But then again, don't be so frugal, so mean to yourself that you never enjoy your life. You may enjoy your life, but you must help others. I like practical. So let me just say, like even me, when I get the opportunity to travel, and I go and I shop, I love shopping. So I'll shop for something. When I come back, I'll first take out of the closet what I don't need and give it to somebody else, so that then there's a space for my new things, you know. So that's a good also attitude, you know. I have a lot. what else can I give to others? How can I bless and empower others? That's always continuously in my mind. So yes, enjoy it, have a nice meal and all that, and celebrate, but also show people the way. I mean, I love the fact that I like John Maxwell's definition of leadership. He says leadership is knowing the way, going the way, and then showing the way. So you must know. So you have knowledge. If you've reached this place where Betty is telling us you've reached, so you know how to get there. Then you've gone there, but then you show other people how to get there as well. And you have power. And then I think when you have left, but inheritance is good because it allows other generations coming after you to live life differently. So you'll always find, let's say there's one person in your family or generation who broke through the ceiling and was successful. Like if I talk about my dad with humility, he did it, yeah? And then he allowed us to have a level of freedom because of what he did. Now it allows my daughter also to have a level of freedom, you know? So all this increase and blessings and good strategies and investments and being good to people and knowing your place with God and giving God his position, it's helping everyone. It's continuous. And that's why the Bible says the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. It's a generational blessing. So every good you do is generational. But also you should know every bad you do is also generational. It is following you. So leave an inheritance for generations as well. Remember the generations that are coming.
Wow. Angie, this brings me to my last question to you. For those who have really succeeded, and by now I think you know what that means, differentiating between hard work and failure, you know, when you are struggling and failing, it is very easy to work hard to get to where you're going. But once you have achieved successful, how do you teach your children when you are in that position to be the ones who work hard and not just waste? Because, you know, things you haven't worked for, it's very easy to just waste. Yeah. So how do you teach your children when you give birth and you are that successful?
That's a very good question, because my mentors, I also have I have mentors, and one of my mentors is Bishop T.D. Jakes, and I love the way that he says also that we've allowed ease on our children. You see, we were, like for me, I was parented very hard. Our parents were not joking. They were, okay, let me talk about mine. Mine were very difficult, but those values and those principles worked for who I am today. It's the same with my daughter. My daughter says, you were such a hard mom. And then when I go to apologize, because now I'm like, oh, and she says, no, if you were not like that, then I would not be the woman that I am today. And it's important for us to remember that. Sometimes we want things to be easier for our children or for the next generation, but does that making it easier for them really work, or does it serve to cripple them? Because it's the hard life and the hard circumstances. I mean, you won't believe, like for me, I think even my parents had cars and vehicles and all that, but we, like when we were taken to school, we would be dropped and picked. But when we started working, we would take matatus. Imagine, and the cars are leaving the same house to go to the same city center, but you would take the matatu. Why? Because it's not your car, you don't have a car. That was the lesson, you know. So it was so traumatizing. We were like, what's wrong with these parents, you know? But now it's good. So everybody, my dad used to like saying, everything belongs to him. These are not ours. Everyone should go and look for theirs. It gives you a certain feel of, we need to.
But you know, Angie, there are parents who say, that is what I went through. I should not subject my children to the same because now I have the capability. Is that a wrong mindset?
But for me, I think that's what you still have to subject them to the hard work. You have to, like now for me, I took what was, I think I learned certain things. So maybe I do it with love, but I still did it. And you see, it worked for me. If I had been spoiled, I would not be this woman that I am today. So I cannot afford to spoil you. But I think maybe I've taken a few things and tweaked them, maybe with the explanation. You know, we also have a generation where you have to explain things. As guys, no was no, there was no explanation.
Yes,
now you explain, you say, okay, I'm doing this because this is what I want to do. So maybe we are talking. So there are elements that I've taken and adjusted, you know. Like us guys, when the holidays came, all the people who used to work in the house used to depart. And my mom needed the house cleaned, the clothes washed, the clothes ironed, the garden outside, all the leaves collected, and we're so sad because even tomorrow more leaves are coming. Yeah, you will pick them up, and then you will cook. Kids are showered. I mean, it was a military operation. And then even we did shads, you know. And you know, shads was far. Shads, there was no electricity, no water. You had to walk 15 kilometers to the nearest shopping center. And I'll say something my mom used to say. I hope she wouldn't mind me saying it on national TV. My mom used to say to my grandmother, the children who survive, I will collect. The ones who die, you bury them. Then when I come, I'll know you're buried. Let me tell you, that would just, survival mode would enter us like, hey, we better survive. There's a possibility we could die here. Okay, we better survive. So, I mean, and that helped us. We were hardened. We had to go to the farm. We got blisters. We had to dig for potatoes. Yeah, because this is what we're going to do. She was like, these children are going to become spoiled. So I know we don't want them to go through exactly what we went through, but the experiences that we went through have made us who we are. And therefore, we cannot cripple them or deny them becoming hard. Because you know, when you go through things, you become tougher. When you go through things, you become tougher, you become harder. When you're allowed to create your own solutions, you think through your solutions. What am I going to do? You need to become street smart. You need to become everything that is needed in life to survive. Because I think one of the things that motivated me, Betty, as I close, is I used to say, I want to leave my daughter better and able to survive in a world by herself. And I think sometimes as parents, we don't do that. We don't think about how can this child survive and live and thrive and flourish without me. Have I equipped them to be able to do that? And we should, because if we don't, then we cripple them and they lose out on life and they lose out on opportunities simply because we didn't teach them.
True. Angie, that has been such a lovely discussion. I would wish that at this point you give your last words in the parting shot to our viewer who has been enjoying listening to you today.
Wow, thank you so much, Betty. I've really enjoyed this conversation. It's absolutely amazing. I think my closing parting shot will be number one, define success according to define your own success. You know, if I'm a Christian and it's by faith, then define success according to God's word. Yeah. If you're a Muslim, do it according to the Quran. If you're a Hindu, do it. Define success. Define your own success, and then define the path so that nobody else comes and tells you this is the path to go. And I think it's important. I don't know why this came in. We never talked about it today, but vision boards are important so that you keep the vision in front of you. Write the vision down, write the steps you want to accomplish. I think we talked about what do I need to do when I'm 20, when I'm 30, when I'm 40, when I'm 50. What do I want to do? And then everything that I do from here, let's say if you're 20, you're very blessed to be listening to this when you're 20. Think about what will life look like when I'm 70 or 80, and how do I do that? And then help others. There's a great joy in helping others and modeling life, and be humble. And don't say you're successful if you're stealing from other people and you're making other people uncomfortable and taking from them. There is no success there, and you will not be blessed, and you do not have peace. There's no way. You need peace. This success must come with peace, but you must define it. Take a good look at yourself and define that success for yourself. What does success mean to me? What does success mean to my family? What will I say I am successful at? And if you have failed or deemed to fail, learn from the failures. Write what's right to that picture first. What's right to my experiences? And then what have I learned? And as I move forward, what can I do better? And then don't agree to be stuck. You have to keep moving.
Wow. Excellent. That was really amazing, Angie. We had lots of fun on this end. Thank you so much for coming to us, even to share with us such kinds of words of wisdom. We have truly been taken to the next level. We now know. We didn't know, now we know. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, viewer. Thank you so much, viewer, also for joining us. I hope you have listened to Angie and taken down the parting shot, and you are now able to define your own success. Have a very good time. My name is Betty Akuku. I have been your host.
We make up over 3/4 of Africa, the under 35s.
We are the 77%.
They want to shape the continent's future. Be part of it and join African youngsters as they share their stories, their dreams, and their challenges. The 77%, DW's platform for Africa's majority.